everyone. My name is Stephen Nichols, and I'm from Acronis. I'm one of the solution engineers. And I'm here today to talk to you a little bit about managed service providers and about using APIs in order to get some automation, get some efficiency, and get things working. So, on that being said, I'm going to jump right into things, and we're going to move over into our demo environment. We'll talk a little bit about kind of some of the background and everything like that on APIs, and then we'll get right into to taking a look at things. So moving over here, the first thing I want to kind of spend a little bit of time talking about is just the Acronis APIs. So we have our developer network. We have lots of APIs which are available. So they're all well documented. You can go explore all that documentation, take a look at the things like the account management and alert APIs. And that really, like any group of APIs, it gives you the ability to programmatically do things as opposed to having to do them individually as a person every time they need to be done. So it's a little bit more of an investment up front, right, to get that thing set up properly. And once you've got that done, though, it means you can scale much more rapidly. So within our documentation around the account management, it's the ability to create those accounts and the ability then to take some of those alerts and then move those into other software. And what I'm talking about in a little more detail later is the integration between Acronis and Jamf and how we've leveraged sort of that API relationship in order to be able to automate that process of things like account creation. So certainly there are lots of different APIs that are available. Jamf Pro has some APIs, and certainly those are ones that we've leveraged in our integration to be able to set things up so that you as an MSP can work within either the Acronis environment or within the Jamf environment and be able to, whichever one is your primary place you want to work, and still be able to have access to all that information, have access to all those actions and things that you need to do. So, as I was saying, we're going to really frame the discussion around that automation, around how the Acronis integration with Jamf Pro works. And so, first of all, we do have the solution itself. So we've got all of the documentation, a bit of a solution brief. But really what the main thing that this automates is the ability to, first of all, remotely mass deploy the Acronis Cyber Protect Cloud agent. So this is the ability to take those devices, be able to push that agent out, and then configure that agent in an automatic and programmatic way, as opposed to having to do that individually one-off. So we use groups to be able to do that. We use protection policies to be able to do that. And then we're able to take that information that is originally in the Acronis side, that reporting of kind of the status, we're able to pull that out using the alert APIs and display that information within the Jamf Pro environment. Because we're not doing things just through the UI, we're doing them with the APIs, it allows us to even extend some of the capabilities. So one of the key things that we can do with that programmatic integration is we can take the ability to manage multiple instances of Jamf Pro and align those with a single partner tenant in the Acronis Cyber Protect Cloud. And that allows you to kind of aggregate all of that information. So certainly, we can go into the details of how you could go ahead and read all the details about how it works. But I'm going to spend a little bit of time now talking about the actual integration from how it works. So really what we're talking about is the ability to protect those macOS devices and be able to really automate that process. So it's as simple and easy at scale to do. And that is really done so you can have like near zero RPOs and RTOs, really, provide the protection that's needed without having to spend a lot of time doing that. So again, it's available through the marketplace. We can see some of the kind of the screens here, but let's kind of look at how you would set that integration up. So we do have our documentation. So on our standard documentation page, under the integrations reference, we can see that there's the Jamf Pro Integration Guide. So this is going to go in and kind of talk about exactly what's supported and how it works. And this is a really good way to kind of talk about how we leverage that in order to be able to do it. And once we kind of talk around that, I'm actually going to go and show you how easy it is to do that integration. Because that API work has been done in the background, we can set that up really, really easily and get things up and running simply. So if we go down here, we can actually see in the documentation, we talk about sort of what the prerequisites are and how what you need to be able to have in place. So really, you just need at least one fully configured Jamf Pro account. You need to have either a smart or a static group so we can queue the computers. Again, we're going to automate that process of deploying the agents. And you have to have an Acronis Cyber Cloud account with at least a customer tenant that's been set up. And you can set a protection plan up if you want. That's the instructions on how you want to protect that endpoint. That can be set up in advance, but you can also manage that individually after the case. So really what we're doing is we're going to go in and we're going to look at the computer policies. So this is really for the instance of APIs and scripting to be able to set that up so that once you make those decisions one time, it's very, very easy to grow out at scale. And then how does the integration work? So it again uses those smart or static groups in order to decide which computers you want to actually protect, which endpoints. And then the integration basically creates a special group called Acronis agent installation. It's a smart group, and it basically queues those computers where it can actually use the script and install the agent and register that agent. And then it will also create Acronis agent status extension attributes. So we will create some of those automatically, some of those extension attributes, and they will all be started with the word Acronis, so you know that that's what it's referring to. It will then, during that installation, the agent will also be deployed onto the computer. It will register that, and then optionally, you can also set a protection policy or a protection plan to be applied as well as part of that process, making it very, very easy. So it's very, very powerful when using API integrations because, again, it makes that automation very, very straightforward. And then once it actually is successful, it's going to have all of those extension attributes populated. So that's going to give you information about statuses and alerts. We do create a couple by default, but in addition to that, you can actually go in and create whatever attributes that you want in order to extract that information. All right, so let's talk a little bit about what does this actually look like. So if we take a look first at the Acronis Cyber Protect Cloud, I'm just going to log in here with an account that I have set up. And we're going to go in and be able to grab the information that we need about this my password. And we'll be able to see kind of what the process is in the management portal. So we're logging in here as the MSP, as the partner, and we're going to see the environment here. So we do have our customer set up. We have our Mac shop customer. We're just going to go into the settings section, and we're going to go into integrations, and we'll see that we have our option here for Jamf Pro. So we're just going to click on that. And we're now going to specify just a little bit of information because we need to build a relationship between one of our customer tenants. So in this case, the Mac shop is our customer. And we're going to enter in an account name. So we're going to call this Mac shop. We're going to use the URL for our Jamf instance. By default, it's going to use port 443. And then what we need to have an API user. So that API user is really a dedicated account that we're setting up in Jamf Pro. So let's go over and take a quick look at that. So in Jamf Pro, what we're doing is we are setting up that special user because we want to grant it exactly the permissions that are going to be needed for that API user, which may be slightly different than what we would need if we actually had a person that was interacting. So we're going to come in here, we're going to go into our list of accounts, and we can see we've already created this Acronis API user. So by clicking on this user, I'm just going to go in quickly and we're going to look at the privileges. So we can see that we have very specific privileges that are set up, and that's all documented in the documentation, what privileges are necessary, because you want to have it enough that those API calls are going to be successful. But at the same time, for security reasons, you want to make sure you're limiting it to just the requirements for that API user. All right, so with that API user created, I can now go back over to and finish up my integration. So I'm just going to grab the API user information. From here, we have our account. So it is Acronis API user. That's my username. And then I'm just going to grab my password. Make sure I'm capturing all of it. There we go. Put our password in. And now I can click next down the bottom, and it's going to go on to mapping accounts. So basically now what we're doing is we've built a relationship between the two. So I can select my user, which exists in that account. I can choose from one of my groups of either static or smart groups. So let's say we're going to use our groups for agent deployment. And if I want, I can also choose a protection plan. So we do have a backup only protection plan set up. So let's go in and automatically apply that. And we'll do all managed clients. And I'm going to go save. So now it's going to map that, meaning that when any device gets added to that particular account, it's going to go ahead and deploy that agent, configure that agent, and everything's going to be working. I can also go in and if I had another Jamf Pro instance, I could go ahead and add that here, meaning that I would actually then be able to pull instances all from the same location. So if I now go back over to my environment and I go to computers, I can look at my all protected, run that, and I actually need to add a device before I can do that. I don't have a device in this environment. It's my other environment that has devices. But I would be able to go in, and if I look at my policies, I can, for example, look at my install Acronis agents here. And as I was talking about, because we're leveraging the APIs, we actually have a script. It will go through and actually run all of that process without any further intervention once you have a device added into Jamf Pro and you have that registered into that group. So it really, by leveraging all of this, it gives you a really good capabilities to be able to manage the environment. So let's go just quickly and look at one of the other environments that I have where I've actually got a couple of devices that are set up, and we can take a look at what else we can see once we've actually got devices in there. Just enter in my credentials here. Give me 1 second. And if I go to Acronis Protected Computers, we can now see we have a device. So if I go in, I have all of my, If I go to my extension attributes, I can see I actually have some which are created. So these would actually populate. There is no protection plan currently associated with this device, but it will tell me the protection plan that's assigned, what the protection status is, when the next backup is. So it really provides quite a bit of information within Jamf. And then you would also be able to manage those same devices in the environment in Acronis. So if we were to go to our Acronis environment and we were to go into our client list, we would actually be able to go in and see more details by managing the service. And because we have that connectivity via API between the two different environments, it really gives us a very powerful experience. So if I go in and see my devices, I can see all of my devices that are listed here. So the Jamf environment connects into the Acronis Cyber Protect Cloud and provides you that real automation via API that should greatly improve your efficiency as a managed service provider and give you the ability to be able to grow your business quite effectively. So I want to thank everyone for joining me today. Hopefully you learned a bit of information about the Acronis Cyber Protect Cloud, and more importantly about how using APIs to automate that process will give you a lot more efficiency and a lot more capabilities to spend your time managing your clients, growing your business, than just doing routine tasks. Thanks for listening.